Welcome to Inside Economics. I'm Mark Sandy, the chief economist of Moody's Analytics. And this is a special podcast. I don't know why it's special, but we're going to figure that out somehow, some way. I'm joined by three of my colleagues, my two co-hosts, Ryan Sweet, Mr. Sweet. How are you doing?
I'm good. How was the gym?
Jim was good. We did a podcast earlier today. This is Friday, April 22nd. And after the podcast, I went to my I call it my I'll be nice, my gym. And we were just talking about that. I just discovered Guns N' Roses. Apparently, that was a big deal when I was in my 20s. But you know, I was in the library in my 20s. You know, I don't know what you guys were doing in your 20s, but I was in the library, so I miss Guns N' Roses somehow. Do you know Guns N' Roses, Ryan?
Yes, of course.
It's not a trick question.
I actually saw them in concert.
Wow. Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I saw them in Philly. Yeah,
were they any good? Good?
They're very good.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, there was moments where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get out of here alive, but it was good.
Wow.
It was one of those really, it was a good concert.
Yeah, I was just telling Ryan, I was listening to this, I have this gym where I can go in 24/7, and it's a grunge gym. I mean, it's a really, old equipment, that kind of thing. But the thing I love about it is that it's 24/7. I go in, and half the time I'm the only person in there. So, and I could turn on the music. I open up the doors, and I turn on the music, and I frankly don't know how to really find the right music. So I just, whatever's playing, I play. Today they had this medley of classics, I guess, and then I heard "Welcome to the Jungle," and I go, "Who is that?" And I go, "That is fantastic." Maybe I'm not sure. It reveals too much. I'm just saying it's a good tune. A really good tune.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it upsets me that they're labeling it as a classic.
Yeah, I think it's a classic. I think it's a classic now. Yeah. Anyway, we got Mr. Dorides, Dr. Dorides. Cris, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm worried though. Is this like a Fight Club situation you got going on there? Is this? Do we need to intervene?
No. Fight Club, it would then be between me and myself because I'm the only one in there.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. You're at the gym there. You're all alone.
Good point. Wow, I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah, it's a little scary now that I think about it. Yeah.
No, but you're okay. All right, good.
Yeah. I have to be a little careful because, if I drop a weight like on my neck, I'm a dead man, because I literally am the only person in there, at times. But so do you like Guns N' Roses?
I've heard of Guns N' Roses. Sure.
Oh,
certainly.
Jeez.
Am I a big
Ryan,
fan?
what do you
Not
think?
Exactly, but
okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about?
Got some good songs.
What I think actually this is the purpose of this podcast, to get to know us a little bit better. So it's okay that I'm asking these questions, right? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what about Counting Crows? Do you like them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah. What
Yeah.
about Red Hot?
That's my generation.
What about Red Hot Chili Peppers? Is it Red
Sure.
Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're good too. Yeah. I like them
Absolutely.
too. Okay. Very good.
What about the Beatles?
I love the Beatles, but the problem with the Beatles, it's just a problem that's not going to ever be solved, is I've listened to them so many times that, it just doesn't have the same kind of feel. Like when you hear "Welcome to the Jungle" for the first time, you go, oh, that's pretty cool. And after the fifth time, you're going, this is not so good. By the 10th time, you don't want to hear it again. With the Beatles, after the 50th time, then you say, I don't want to listen to it again. But although I did hear "Hey Jude" the other day, and I really liked it. It was
There you
very
go.
good. Yeah. Anyway, and we got Emily Mandel. Emily, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be on this.
Well, okay. Do you know Guns N' Roses?
I do. I think you're definitely in the minority on this one, Mark.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh,
much of
and
a
Cris,
music person.
Emily, it's you and I. Cris
Yeah.
really hadn't heard of Guns N' Roses.
Okay, here.
Oh, come on. I've
You
heard it.
recognize the name.
Yeah,
I'm always in the hunt for tunes. You know why? Because when I run, I need tunes. Or I go to the gym, I need tunes, and I have a hard time getting tunes out of my kids. They won't really tell me what they're listening to, which scares me. I don't know what that means exactly. What are they listening to? But I need tunes. So what should I be listening to?
Wait. You're not listening to the Inside Economics podcast while you run? That's,
I actually sometimes I do. Not when I run.
Okay.
But when I'm trying to pump a little iron, as they say. And by the way, don't get the wrong impression. I have like no muscle mass whatsoever. I just do this to survive. I will listen to the podcast. It's a good weightlifting recommendation to listener. You know, if you aren't going to the gym, go to the gym and put on this podcast. It really helps out. Ryan's laughing.
I'm just
I'm not
picturing my
kidding.
wife now. Picture my wife at the gym listening to this. She'll fall off the treadmill.
I mean, I don't make this stuff up. I mean, this is true. This is true, right? Emily, Emily,
Yes.
this is a critical question. Critical. In fact, this is actually vital. Do you listen to the Inside Economics podcast?
I have listened to the Inside
Oh,
Economics
jeez
podcast.
Louise.
Past Kent.
You're playing a key role here. You're a moderator. You're going to moderate questions. You're going to fire questions at us. But we need a kind of a loyal listener. Would you consider yourself a loyal listener?
From about a week ago on.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you subscribed to the podcast?
Have you subscribed to the podcast, Emily? Be honest now. Oh,
That's
Well,
all we're
gosh.
asking.
Oh,
That's all we're
This
asking.
is
Okay,
really.
I overloaded on podcasts a couple years back, and I had to like stage an intervention for myself, so I don't have any current podcast subscriptions. So it's not like you
Okay,
guys are
okay.
in
Okay, that's fair.
the left
Fair enough.
out. Yeah.
Okay, Emily, before you ask us questions, we're going to ask you questions, okay? In fact, this may take the entire hour, so I'm just saying.
You'll lose a couple listeners. on
just a
that,
couple.
but
Okay, all right. Okay, you run and think about all our state and local government work, and you've got this great mentor, Dan White, who we've had on the podcast before, and but you've taken over a lot of the work on the state and local government side. How long have you been doing this? It's been more than I can't even remember. How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been with Moody's for about maybe 6.5 years now.
Okay,
Yeah,
very
close
good.
enough. I should probably stop counting the halves.
Yeah.
But and then I got more into this. I've kind of been ramping up my work on the government side since then, and probably started doing quite a bit more maybe near the start of the pandemic, a couple of years before, or year before that.
Oh, you do a great job. Okay, you do know, or I'm assuming you should know that as part of this podcast, we play a statistics game. Are you aware of the statistics game?
I am, yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, I got a statistic for you. You ready?
Oh no. Okay,
Now, come on.
I'm listening.
And Ryan and Chris, you can't, if you know the answer, you can just raise your hand, but you can't call it out loud.
All right.
All right.
All right, Emily, this is tailor-made for you, Emily. That's a clue, by the way.
Okay.
25%. 25%.
Is this from that chart I sent you a little while
Oh,
back?
very good. Ding, 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 ding. What is the chart you sent me?
Yeah, this is the basically how much states have in reserves at the end of fiscal 2021. So their ending balances plus their rainy day funds as a share of their total revenues. We put this together.
25% nationwide, right?
25%, which is absolutely huge by historical standards. Like states have just socked away so much cash over the past couple of years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So what's the average? Okay, here's a bonus question.
Okay,
You should know the answer to this.
should.
What is the average or typical ratio of rainy day plus end of balance general funds over the general fund? Which is, basically how much cash do I have out there that I can use if I get into a scrape if I'm a state government? Typical.
I'm gonna make this up. Maybe around 12.
That ding, 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 ding. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. So it's double. Right now it's double, right? And that goes to, I think, well, one, just the strong economy, all the revenues that are being generated because of income tax and capital gains, and of course, house prices are going skyward. So property taxes, sales taxes, everyone's spending a lot of money. And then, of course, all the support from the federal government through the American Rescue Plan, right? That's got to be part of it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think also like states really slashed their planned expenditures for fiscal 2021 because they didn't realize just how good everything would be. So
Yeah, good
that's also
point.
given them a bit more to play with.
Yeah, great point. So right
Can I ask
now,
a question?
state and local governments are in great shape, great financial shape.
Can I
Yeah.
ask which state's in the best
Yeah,
position?
good question.
I think we're gonna have to hold off on this one for a week or two. I'm putting together our annual like stress testing of states report, and that's gonna give us a good sense of how they're going. Because some have more cash on hand, but they might be,
Yeah,
hit
she
a
sent
little
me,
harder.
Emily sent me a
going.
spreadsheet with by state, and I just haven't had time to
I
calculate
have
it
that
yet.
also. Yeah,
You
it's
do?
usually your energy states that have the most
Yeah.
actual cash on hand, but that doesn't necessarily.
May
Like
not
North
be
Dakota.
They get stressed more. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. You did well on the game. Just saying, better than
Thanks.
Ryan does. Jesus.
Mhm.
Ryan is
I think that's a cowbell if you have it.
you
Ryan.
cowbell.
See, this is why we
Carl's
need.
going to take away the last of your cowbells if you're not careful.
Okay, all right.
We need to get you a cowbell so you can stop going ding ding ding.
I
should get you a cowbell.
Well, you
Here's
see,
your pitch.
I innovate. So since I don't have a cowbell, I innovate. I like the ding
Yep.
ding ding thing actually. But anyway, okay, Emily, you're up. So
Yes.
what are we doing here? You have a few questions for us, and can you just so this is questions that are from our colleagues, our Moody's Analytics colleagues. I guess Moody's more broadly, and these are a mix of questions that are econ related, so kind of what's going on in the economy related, and also I guess more
Personal.
personal. They want to learn more about the folks on the podcast. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and these are also we've got some here from outside listeners, so not
Okay.
not
Oh,
just
we
Moody's,
do.
also
Okay.
some
Okay. Very
Oh,
good.
great.
general people.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. But I think I'm just saying, Emily, if you're a regular listener, you know us pretty well by now. Like, we drink Wawa coffee, or I do. Not Chris.
I knew that before this podcast.
Drink,
Yeah.
Chris
What's
drinks
this?
shishi, whatever. I don't know.
I get the
Mhm.
shishi Wawa coffee.
shishi Wawa coffee. And that Ryan hangs out at Hershey Park, regularly, blows us
Mhm.
off, on a pretty frequent basis, that
This
kind
one podcast.
of,
One
yeah,
podcast.
Yeah, I'm just telling
Hates the
you.
yield curve.
He
Oh,
hates
yeah.
the yield curve. He's a denier. Oh no, he's a skeptic. He keeps
Skeptic.
telling me he's a skeptic. Yield curve skeptic. Anyway, fire away, Emily.
Okay, so to kick us off, and this is a question for Chris or Ryan. Has Mark convinced either of you to increase your supply of power washers?
Right.
I'm
It's a
Must
great
really
one.
Explain
clubbing.
that though. Someone's got to explain that.
So why Chris is thinking, I'll explain it. So one of the early podcasts, we were talking about the American consumer and how we're buying a ton of stuff. And Mark mentioned that he owns 2 power washers. And Chris and I were puzzled, why would you have 2 power washers? And Chris mentioned you have to have 2 to have one to wash the other one.
Right. It's true. It's true. Actually, the whole power washer thing, I now look at every structure through the prism of a power washer. Like, should this thing be power washed? It's really weird. It's like I've got a list of structures I would like to power wash.
Don't do your car. They told you not to power wash your car.
You're not supposed to do your
Yeah, you're
car?
not supposed to power wash your car.
Ooh.
Wait. When you go to the car wash self-serve, it is a power washer, right?
You gotta be careful. You gotta
Isn't it
use
the
the
same
right
thing?
nozzle. Oh yeah. You
Oh,
can take that
okay.
paint right off. That's why.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. All
If
right.
Mark comes in and his car's got like a stripe
Right.
down the side, we'll know he tried power washing it.
But do you guys have power washers? Do you
I
have
do.
a power washer? You do.
I do not.
Chris does not. And Emily, do you have a power washer?
I don't have a yard, so I
Oh.
would not like to power wash the inside of my apartment. So no, I do not have one.
Oh. So you're not a homeowner at this point.
No, not at this point.
Oh, okay.
You-
All right.
Just wait.
it's housing market.
Just wait.
you know.
Yeah.
The power washer is crucial.
Yeah. How are you
I-
thinking about
first thing
all
I
this? What's going on in the housing market, Emily, with the run up in mortgage rates? Is this? Are you even thinking about buying a home or not yet?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I moved to Massachusetts about a year ago, and we
Oh,
were
that's
really
right.
looking
I forgot
about
that. Yeah.
into the housing market here, into wanting to get something when we moved. But at that point, like the supply was pretty much all gone, and now I don't know, kind of just settling into the apartment. I think for a while.
Yeah, I think Boston in particular, the inventory, there's like zero inventory. There's
Yeah.
like nothing for sale. It's pretty incredible.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Just wait. Just wait.
Obviously, I
while.
didn't convince anyone to get a second power washer.
I'm actually
Got-
thinking about getting a second one.
I'll rent you mine, Chris. I mean,
I
I
think
was
there's a point
thinking
to
I
have
could just stop over if I ever need one. But
right.
I think there's a good argument to have two, one for the front yard and one for the back, because wheeling that thing around with the hose
That
pain
is a
in the
good
butt.
point.
So I'm actually thinking 2 power washers might make sense.
That is a good point, actually, because
I'm
they
gonna-
are unwieldy things. These
Mhm.
I think
power
I'm gonna
washers.
try to keep us moving on this one because I
Okay,
have
okay,
a
very
million
good.
questions to get
As
through.
you can
This is
see,
a
we can
great
talk about anything
conversation.
forever.
Well-
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I think this will be a shorter one, but a former employee, Alex Lowy, and
Oh,
he would
Alex,
like to
good guy.
know everyone's view on the correct pronunciation of Précy.
Yeah. Well, the one, Précy. How do you guys say it? How do you say it, Emily? You said Précy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ryan, how do you say it?
Crazy.
Well, you invented the word, I think.
No, I didn't. No.
You did not? Okay. You
I thought there was only one way to say it.
Well, no, forever clients would say pricey. And I said, no, it's not pricey. It's spelled Precis, and it's French. And I think there's and I don't, is it accent aigu? Is that, or no, a circumflex. It's the circumflex over the I'm
Should
having
we-
too much fun.
Should we
I'm having
mention
way
what
too much
Précy actually
fun.
means? Doesn't Précy mean short report?
Yeah, it means summary.
Concise,
Summary.
right?
Summary.
Concise.
Yeah. So that was the idea, right? We wanted to summarize. These were précis we did for metro area state economies, and so there's kind of a 600-word kind of précis, summary of what our thought process was around what was going on and what the outlook was for these areas. So the clients really got confused by that. They would call it pricey. And of course, that's not what we wanted. That wasn't, the marketing that we had in mind. It's pricey. But Chris,
Were you the originator of the term?
No.
Mark, or
Paul
no?
Getman. So
Paul
Paul,
Getman, okay.
Paul, I, and Carl started this company back in 1990, and Paul was I think it was Paul. I was pretty sure it's Paul that came up with the pricey. He was a big fan of Value Line. Does anyone know Value Line?
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah, for stocks. So I don't know, is Value Line still around? I'm not even sure. But back in the day, Value Line would create a Précy-like analysis of companies for stock investors. So you could go look at IBM, for example, or GE, or these were the GM, and on one page you would get all this vital statistics and analysis. And he is a great stock picker. People don't know that, but Paul is like a fantastic investor, and has done really well. Investing in a lot of biotech and energy and infrastructure, and so he was really into these Value Line reports, and he just said, okay, we should do that for economies. And that really was the product that drove enormous growth early on in the company's history back in the 90s and the early part of the 2000s. That was the engine of growth at that time.
It's still a foundation, right?
It's very key, and it's actually a very therapeutic way of writing, because you can't just go on and on and on. Like Emily does when she writes about state and local government. She just goes on and on and on. But
Or like this podcast.
or like this podcast, yeah, like this podcast.
Good example.
Like the Zandy guy going on and on and on. But it's 600 words. Is it right? It's still 600 words. Don't I have lost track? Is it Ryan?
Still 600.
Yeah, still 600 words. I don't know why 600 exactly. It's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm surprised Alex didn't ask that. And well, how's he doing, by the way? Does anyone know? He went off to University of Michigan to get an MBA. He should be graduated by now. He should be CEO of some company by now. No, he's not.
I
Does
don't know
anyone
where he's at.
Yeah, we should find out. Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Okay, so shifting over to economics a little bit more here. What's your, and I guess this is each of you or whoever chooses to, what's your biggest worry for the economy 5 to 10 years from now?
Ooh, good one. Chris, you want to go? Ryan?
Biggest worry for the economy in terms, well, I guess I would, if you're
5 to
thinking
10 years from now.
yeah, 5-10 years, it's, and for that time frame, for me, it always comes down to demographics and productivity, right? So those are the two that come to mind. And of the two, I'm actually more worried about the demographics, right? Because as I think about, say, the housing market, right, population growth is slowing here. The number of household formations I expect to slow down significantly. While you have a lot of house price stress today, 10 years from now, I think we could very well have the opposite, more supply than demand. So.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a good one. Ryan?
Yeah, I always think demographics, and I think increasingly I'm getting more concerned about inequality.
Inequality.
So
Anything
yeah,
in particular?
even worse over the next 5 to 10 years.
Really? Why do you think so?
I mean, just we're going to have another recession at some point, and then the stock market corrects, but then comes roaring back, and I don't know. My gut is that inequality is going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I'll take the other side of that, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
hope you're right.
yeah. In my view, the inequality that we've seen, the increasing inequality, wealth and income inequality we've seen since really since the late 70s, early 80s, is a function of a lot of things, but three key things. One is, in no order of importance, globalization, right? And particularly China's entry into the WTO back in the early 2000s, that kind of, opened up the labor market for very low paid workers in the rest of the world. And that wiped out a lot of jobs here in the US. Second is technology targeted towards more routine kinds of labor activities, particularly for low middle income workers, kind of hollows out the middle. And people who lose their job in the middle due to technology tend to go down the income distribution, not up the income distribution. And third, demographics that, in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, really up until recently, we had the demographics were favorable for lots of labor, strong labor force growth and also increases in participation because of female participation rates increasing quite dramatically in that period. In, of course, the boomers and in immigration. Now, if that's the diagnosis for what's behind the increase in income inequality, now think about what's happening going forward. Globalization is going in reverse. We're deglobalizing. And by the way, that would be my answer, Emily, as to what I worry about the most, because even though globalization is a key factor in driving income inequality, it's also been a boon to overall economic growth. And it's been bad policy that has failed to make sure that the benefits of that globalization doesn't accrue to everyone more equally. It's really accrued to folks like us at the top end of the income distribution because we can sell what we produce to the rest of the world. But that's going in reverse. Second, Cris said it. On the labor market side, we're in a world of incredibly, abstracting from the vagaries of the business cycle, a very tight labor market. Labor has got the upper hand here, and I think they're going to continue to have the upper hand going forward. And they're going to grab more of the benefits of increasing improvements in technology and labor productivity. The reverse of what happened, in the 80s, 90s, and 2000, 2010, when most of the benefits of the improvement in productivity and technological progress went to upper income households. The only thing that will continue to weigh on, I was going to say one more thing. The only thing on technology that will continue to be a source of pressure on the income and wealth distribution, but I don't see that getting any worse than it has been, in the last 20 or 30 years. So I'll stop right there. What were you going to say?
The argument that the labor share of income really hasn't changed. So it's, still most of it's going towards corporations, and labor share of income is still where it was pre-pandemic. So for your argument, when you argue that needs to improve?
Well, the labor share is down from where it was in the 70s and 80s, right? I mean, it's actually,
there's been no improvement since pre-pandemic.
I thought we were talking about this kind of longer term, though. I'm not, right? We're talking about.
My argument is if we were going to see, we would have started seeing some seeds that labor share of income, given this tightness of the labor market.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's too early. It's going to happen.
Too early.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying 10 years from now, because the
right.
question was 10 years from now, the labor share is going to be much higher than it is today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. So usually we think of the 3 T's when it comes to inequality, right? Trade, technology, and taxes. But you didn't mention taxes and changes to tax policy.
Well, it's hard to see change. I mean, tax policy certainly helped. That actually helped to exacerbate the income
Exactly.
inequality. I don't see
Yeah.
that changing, though. I don't see it getting worse going forward. I don't see it getting better. I don't think any change. I mean, I don't expect any change there. Yeah. Do you?
No. If anything,
If
I see
anything,
it
it's going to be
actually-
higher taxes on high income households, right? Because that's where the money is. And if you've got a fiscal problem, I guess.
Well, it's how you read the political tea leaves, then,
Yeah.
right? So
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, though. Yeah, because certainly the Trump tax cuts were exacerbated the income and wealth distribution problems.
right, and earned income tax credits and child tax credits work in the other direction,
Yeah,
right?
work in the other direction.
so-
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's from, now that we have some stuff to, worry about now, this one's coming from Tim Daly, and he wants to know, what is your favorite or least favorite metric to forecast and why?
Ooh, that's a great question. And Tim being, he used to be head of sales for our economics unit in the Americas. He's gone on to bigger things, but Tim is a really wonderful sales, marketing, strategic thinker, and we definitely miss him. He's now in the banking unit, I believe, of Moody's, helping out with sales and marketing. So that's a great question. What do you think? I got one in mind.
Chris,
What's-
before you answer this, he
Yeah.
has explicitly excluded housing starts. So,
Oh, we did?
I like forecasting housing starts.
Actually, Ryan's good at forecasting everything, though.
Yeah, he's
Pretty much everything.
he's a star.
So what's yours, Mark?
I'll mention two. Should I mention two things or one thing?
Yeah.
Two things. First thing is home ownership rate. Good luck with that. It's like impossible. And you would think, oh, how hard could it be to, model the home ownership rate? I defy you to model the home ownership rate. Very, very difficult. We were just talking about this the other day. And, because, you would think it's a function of demographics, a function of affordability, it must be in policy to some degree, but actually estimating econometrically an equation that fits the home ownership rate data incredibly full. Again, that's a challenge. If, someone figure that out. And the second is the Mannheim used car index. That is like painful. Although I think Mike Brisson, our colleague who does his own used car price indices and forecasts, probably has done a much better job than I have. But I have I've had a very hard time modeling those two things. Those are my two difficult ones. What about you guys?
I'd say the stock market,
Oh,
right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Which everyone instantly, right? Meet someone new. What do you do? Oh, I'm an economist. Oh, what's the stock market going to do? Can I get some investment advice?
yeah.
Mhm.
Right. So it's always out there, but I don't have any more insight than you do. And then kind of related to your home ownership, anything policy related, right? Because it's really a political calculation at that point. So trying to understand what's actually going to pass or not pass, or how it's going to flow in, right?
Yeah.
There's no econometric framework there. It's a bit more just guesswork or trying to read those political tea leaves. So,
Hey, Ryan, you forecast near term a lot of different economic variables, and you do a great job at it. You're very accurate at it. And by the way, where are you? Are you still following the ranking in terms of accuracy around the monthly series? I haven't. And
Yeah.
how are you doing this year so far?
Number 2,
It says, who's that guy who's always is number one?
Jim O'Sullivan.
Is he still number one?
No, he changed jobs, so
Oh, he's not doing
Yeah.
it anymore.
he got the boot out of the. No, I think he's doing it, but the way Bloomberg does the rankings is that you have to be in it for a consistent amount of time. So
Oh, so who's
So-
number one right now then?
I don't know. I got to check.
Okay, all right. He's whoever it is probably taking your forecast. That's a joke, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a joke. I've just made that up. But of all the near-term forecasts that you produce, which one or two is the most difficult to get right? And right means, like, let's say employment is coming out for the month of April in early May, you come up with a forecast for that number, and then right means that you get close to the
Mhm.
employment estimate or the unemployment rate or whatever it is you're forecasting. Which variable or variables was particularly hard?
Well, it's definitely changed since the pandemic. So pre-pandemic, I would never have said this one because we're actually pretty good at doing it. But since the pandemic, uh, monthly changes in non-farm employment have been
Really?
very difficult.
Very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's issues, there's changes to seasonal adjustment process. It's a lot of moving parts because the models that we have are built to forecast employment based on demand, whereas supply is a key part of the strength of monthly job growth now, and we don't have a lot of good high frequency data on that, so it makes it very, very difficult.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Are you annoyed by the revisions? Right. I think if we look back, your forecasts are actually more accurate if we
Yeah,
actually
if you go
compare them to
revision.
the revised. But no one ever does that, right? It's always
No,
compared to
accuracy is based on the first, and then when the second, third prints come out and get closer and closer, just you're like, I knew. It's because it's interesting. It's every forecast is a learning experience, but sometimes you're just like that number just can't be right, and then it get revised, closer to what
Gets
you thought.
revised away.
right.
Yeah.
Well, this last set of revisions to the employment data were pretty bizarre, I thought. Right? Because it felt like the employment gains were somewhat consistent or even reasonably consistent with the waves of the pandemic when the pandemic
Originally, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Before the revision. And then we get this big comprehensive revision and it revises away all of that. And now it looks like the labor
was
market's
flat.
nothing but a machine,
Yeah.
producing.
Yeah, you could have forecasted it with a ruler.
Yeah, which doesn't make
Doesn't
any
make sense.
sense, right? Do you think it's just seasonal adjustment? They're just smoothing out everything?
I guess. I don't know.
You don't know.
It's
Yeah,
bizarre.
we'll find out, I guess. Well, who knows? Yeah. Anyway,
Is everyone's first job?
I was a caddy. You know what a caddy is?
Like
Right,
golf
right,
course?
right. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Well, I mean, you're not counting like the lemonade stand when you were in third grade, right?
I think we can leave that one out.
Okay, we can leave that one out. Okay. I wasn't very good at selling lemonade. I got a great story though. No, I won't. I won't tell it though. I won't tell it about my lemonade. You want to hear my lemonade story? No,
Oh.
probably not. I've got a good one though.
You're just
But
dying to. Go
I
ahead.
won't
Go
elaborate.
ahead.
I'll let you guys go first. So I'll come back to my caddying, which by the way is no. Anyway, go ahead. You go.
That's a
you
hard
go.
job.
Caddying is hard.
It's
Yeah.
very hard.
Pays well though.
Mhm.
At least in my day. So what was your first job, Chris?
I was mowing lawns.
Ah, yeah, that's a good one. Did you have your own
Yeah.
lawn mowing business?
I would hardly call it a business, but yeah, in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Did you pay your taxes? Oh my gosh.
No,
Holy
I'm,
IRS is gonna be
I'm
banging down his
almost
door.
certain I did. My father was a stickler for that. So.
Oh, was he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you grow up, Chris? Where was
I grew up
home?
in Michigan,
Oh,
a little
really?
town called Jackson. So
Where's Jackson?
it's South Central.
It's kind of near Ann Arbor.
Yeah, about an hour
Yeah.
west of Ann Arbor, south of
Okay.
Lansing. Yeah.
You don't have any Midwest accent whatsoever. Can you, Memley? Does he have an accent?
I don't think so.
I've
No.
been on the East Coast longer than in the Midwest. So.
Oh, I see. Okay, good. Well, lots of lawns to cut in Jackson.
For sure.
Some good
Right.
For sure.
business. Ryan, what was your first job?
It was a busboy at a high-end restaurant.
Ah,
Ah,
do you remember what you got paid?
No, at the time it was like $2 an hour, but you get tips,
tips. Yeah.
and you had to
Oh,
claim your
really?
tips.
Oh, as a busboy, you
And-
get tips too. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, at the end, the
Mm.
waitresses and
They split it
waiters
with
tip
you.
you out.
I see. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So I was a caddy, and I was great. I had this golf course, Golf Mills Golf Course, and I had to walk to it right from my home, and it was about a mile walk, up, downhill, uphill, that kind of thing, and it was really hard, particularly in the dead of summer, And I remember this one couple, the Dimsdales. I'm not lying. That's their name, the Dimsdales. The Dimsdales would come, husband and wife, and I don't know how old I was, say 15 or 16, and they looked ancient to me. They might have been 35, 40 for all I know, but they looked ancient, right? And they came to the golf course every day. And the golf. Did I tell you this story? Did I ever tell you this story, Brian or Chris?
Yeah, I think you told Chris and I this story once.
Yeah, we
Oh,
But
yeah.
go-
And the Dimsdales. Well, I'll tell the rest of the podcast. The Dimsdales went there to exercise. That was their exercise. So they would have one bag, and they would literally run. They hit the ball and they would run. And me, the caddy, had to run with the bag and go to each of them. Here, Mrs. Dimsdale, here, Mr. Dimsdale. It's not like they hit the ball in the same place, right? These are two guys, hitting all over the place. So this is, on an 85, 90-degree day at the 18th hole, and the 18th hole at Golf Mills is straight uphill because the clubhouse is at the top of the hill. I go to Mrs. Dimsdale before she tees off. I go, Mrs. Dimsdale, can we just take 1 minute break before you run up this hill? And she got very nervous and called up to the caddy shack and said, the caddy is fainting. He's going to faint. So they rushed down all these people to help me out. That was highly embarrassing. Anyway, that was the first job.
How much did you get paid?
I got $12, $6 a bag. Yeah. And then it got, by the time I left, I think it was like $18 a bag, that's not bad actually. Right. Of course, so now I think about it.
when you adjust it per
How
hour,
many- how many
Yeah,
hours
that's
is that?
that's
4
why the
hours.
Dimsdales, everyone liked the Dimsdales. 'cause
Oh,
it was
yeah,
like
they
an
get
hour
done
and a
in
half for
Yeah.
18 holes, as opposed to 4
Right.
hours because you could
Mhm.
do
Working
it.
for
you could-
that though.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a few more softball
Aren't you
questions
having fun,
to
Emily?
throw at you.
Did you see way she
Oh,
said
I
that?
can keep going with
Oh,
this
we're
all day.
almost at
I've
the end
got-
of the hour. So,
okay.
I've got like another 20 of these, so however
Okay,
you
all
long
right,
want to stick
okay.
around.
Just
But I'm gonna
easy.
pick and choose. And so,
Now, is that an overhanded softball or an underhanded?
Oh yeah, the first one.
okay, so if you have a flight scheduled to take off at 2
That's an
o'clock,
inside joke.
That was an
for-
inside.
I'm gonna
If Emily,
Scoop
that
out.
just went right over your head. I know, but that was
That's
like
how we
from
know you didn't listen to the first few podcasts.
first free
I
podcast.
didn't.
Mhm.
I've tuned in more to the more recent ones. I went to a conference a couple years back. a
Well, what's
couple
your
months
favorite
back, and all
podcast,
the
Emily?
clients-
What was your favorite podcast?
Oh, I like the politics ones, like
Oh, you like
NPR
the politics?
politics
Oh,
and
yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
they're good.
Okay. Question. Sorry for missing the, softball joke here, but I'll do it later.
No. Don't worry about it. It's
If you have
bad
a
joke.
flight scheduled to take off at 2 o'clock, what time are you getting to the airport? Are you a
Oh,
1 hour in
that's
advance, 3 hours in
interesting.
advance person?
All right, are we all assuming Philadelphia International?
Yeah, let's go with
Yeah, I
Philly.
think we
It's
should.
easy.
Okay, all right. Just making sure.
That's good. That's good. That's a good question. Okay. So what's the answer?
So the flight takes off at 2?
Yeah,
Okay, all right. I'll go. I'm going to be the outlier here.
really.
Yeah,
What are you?
you're like 45 minutes before the flight takes
No.
off.
No.
Oh,
no,
I
I'm
would be
direct-
at the airport
Yeah.
through security by 11 a.m.
Oh, well, that's a
Oh,
little. That's a
wow.
little
Wow.
early.
That's early.
No,
Yeah.
I can't do the stress. Like
You can't
that would
take it.
drive me. No,
Yeah.
I'd rather get there,
That's
like, set up the
interesting.
computer, and do work, but know that I'm there.
Now, do you have the pre-check?
I do have the pre-check
Wow.
still.
Okay.
Do
Still
you have
trusted.
Do you have a club membership?
Yeah, I have the American Express.
So do you go into the Amex? Where
Mhm.
is the Amex club in Philly?
So you
They have
know-
one in Philly?
Yeah, if you go through the right by the international gate,
Yeah.
it's like the first.
Oh, that's
door.
right. I know where that is.
Right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Between A West and A East.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
You guys are high rollers.
Right next to the British Airways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you the kiosk next. Right. So Chris, how would you? That's a great question, actually. How would you?
I leave
answer
my house 2 hours before takeoff. It's an hour to get to the airport. Now I'm an hour
Oh
there
no.
ahead of
Mm-mm.
time. Enough time to pass by, get the coffee, and go to the gate.
the shishi coffee?
Yes.
The
Yes. In
shishi
that
coffee.
case,
That case is the shishi coffee.
definitely.
You do realize Philadelphia International is off 95, and that could take 45 minutes to go 0.2 miles. You're cutting it close there, Chris.
Have you ever missed a plane, Chris?
I've not missed a plane yet.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Oh,
there are a lot of options. You don't have to stick with 95.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, for me, I prefer getting there as early as possible. I'd go there at 9 a.m. if I could, because I see no difference between working in I have the American Airlines Club, right? And they've got really good ones. They're really good. You got your not Wawa coffee, but they got reasonably good coffee. There they got a banana.
They have Wi-Fi.
They got Wi-Fi's great. Yeah.
Mhm.
And nice view. You got a nice view with big windows. And so why not hang out there well in advance if you can and not worry about a thing, right? So
Exactly.
I'm all for that. And that's a beautiful thing about remote work. You can work anywhere, right? And actually, I like going to the airport now because I'm tired of my bedroom, working in my bedroom. So I like I can hang out in the American U.S. Air, I call it U.S. Air, it used to be U.S. Air, American Airlines Club. So I'll go early. I'll go as early as I possibly can. Yeah. The only problem is they get a little annoyed if you're Zooming. That's a little bit of an issue. They need to work on that.
They don't have the private rooms.
Well, actually, they closed down the private rooms in the pandemic. They haven't
Oh.
opened them up. At least not the last time I asked. So
You have headphones on, or is it? Can everyone hear?
I have my
both
headphones
sides?
on, but
Okay.
you're talking.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So they get annoyed at you. And I go like into the corner over here, and they still hear me somehow. I don't know how that happens, but yeah, that's the only issue. See how we think, Emily, on this podcast, we think deeply about all these questions. They're
Mhm.
very, very, you can see how deep we go.
Connecting it to broader economic trends.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
remote work. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Remote
depth
work.
here.
Yeah. You see how we did that?
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Another couple,
Another couple?
Sorry?
Okay. All right, fire away.
or if you've got we can jump off. If you need
No.
Go
It's okay.
go for it.
Fire.
Okay,
Go,
okay.
go. Two more.
Two more.
I'm tired.
This okay, this one is courtesy of Dan White.
Oh,
And he
no.
would like to know which Zandy brother would win in an arm wrestling match.
Carl, hands down.
Carl, okay.
Oh, God.
Despite
He's
the
vicious.
Carl's
Carl's
gym
vicious.
or whatever
Carl's
you go
vicious. Yeah, he's vicious. He's like, he goes for the jugular.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you kidding
Keep
me?
going.
He won't even he won't even let us have budget for a cowbell, Emily.
Mhm.
Are you kidding me? That guy's ruthless. It's ruthless. Yeah.
Sure.
No,
Dan,
he's actually great shape. He's an excellent athlete. He played college soccer, and he was really, really good. And now he has his own gym in his basement. It's like a professional gym.
Oh.
Yeah, he showed it to me the other day. It's like everything you'd ever want in a gym, except he doesn't play Guns N' Roses there. That's the only problem.
And you're not
you can
allowed.
fix that.
And I'm not allowed.
You're not allowed in.
I'm not allowed in. But are you kidding? Carl would win that hands down. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, my other brother would beat the both of us though. Not Peter, Richard. Richard.
I didn't even know you had another.
Oh yeah, we got
Thought it was just the two
we
of
got
you.
many Zandys. We got many Zandys.
See, I learned something new here. Okay. Another quick one. What is your hopefully quick? Who knows with you guys? Where is your favorite place to grab lunch in Westchester?
Oh, that's just a bad question.
I mean, there's a lot of options, but if we're trying to get people to come back to the office, then maybe this will remind them of all the good times they used to have in these places.
Do you guys have favorites? Chris has a favorite for everything.
I rarely
gets
have
it-
lunch, so
You don't
I'll
have
go to
lunch?
I go to the gym, so
Oh, you go to the Y?
go to the Y. Yeah.
Mhm.
See, everything he does is he goes shishi Y, shishi
Yeah.
wawa.
Why?
She why?
Not that.
Well, have you seen the Y in Westchester? It's pretty shishi.
On Airport Road?
No.
The one by the office, probably, right?
Is it the one catty corner to our office?
No,
not that one. That one's
It's
that
not
one's
shishi.
okay.
that one's
It's okay.
okay.
The
Yeah.
one on Airport
Oh.
Road is legit. It's got like
It's
a
legit
children's
shishi.
playroom.
Yeah. What playroom?
No, I see Chris there every once in a while.
Oh, you belong to that gym too?
Yeah, you can drop the
That's
kids
the
off.
Y, right? You can go to
Ah.
any
Yeah,
Y.
and you
Yeah.
take them to the pool. The other two.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan? You have a favorite?
I don't know if I remember. It used to be Three Little Pigs, that little sandwich shop right
Oh,
down
yeah.
the street from us, but they closed down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what about
Yeah.
you, Mark?
I don't go out to lunch.
You guys just don't eat. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll skip that
I-
one.
I
I guess
literally
that's an
Usually
answer in
working.
itself.
Yeah. I mean, I have gone out to lunch, but I don't really.
You
So
seem
I'm
like a
not. I'm
Tekka
really a
guy.
bad person to answer that question. Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll end this with an easy one. When is the date of the next recession?
Ooh, that is a good question. That lunch question was a bad question. This was a good question. This is a really good question. What now? Do you want the day?
Yeah, give us the day.
You want the day? Oh. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay, just to preface this, Ryan is on the record in our last podcast, 75% probability of recession within the next, what was it? 18 months?
12 to 18 months.
12 to 18. Cris was at 55%. And I think I was at 40%, wasn't I? For the next 12 to 18 months. I'm 1/3 over the next
Okay.
12 months, 40%. So I don't have a recession in the next 18 months. You guys do. So great question. When do you think it's going to happen? Start. I like this question. That makes it tough, huh?
If it happens,
Well, you said
right?
55%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
still not guaranteed. I'm gonna go with Saturday, September 23rd,
Are you going to give us a year?
2023. Yeah.
Oh, wait. This year? You think this year?
No,
Oh,
next
that's
year.
next year.
2023.
Oh, you said 23. I thought you
Yeah,
said 2022.
I am so puzzled by this because is the NBER going to make an announcement on a Saturday that we entered a recession?
Oh no, this goes
No.
beyond the.
They
We
pick 'em
provide
up.
more value than the MBER.
Yeah. They'd say September 2023. You know, as Cris is really crafty, he like picks 18 months from now. You know,
He did.
exactly 18 months from
Is
now.
that
You
exactly?
notice that?
Oh.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the exact last month for you to be right. For you to be right. But that's pretty crafty.
Yep.
Why the 23rd?
Oh, that's the equinox.
Equinox?
Yep.
Yeah. Is it
I like
23rd?
I do like the zodiac economics from time to time. So
Okay, that's fair enough. The economics astrology.
astrology. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, right. Got it. I've been there. I've done that. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense to me. All right. Ryan, what do you
I think
say,
there's a
man?
full moon too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. New section on the website.
Emily, what do
Just
you
the-
say? What do you think? When's
Yeah.
the next recession? Do you have a view? Every economist should have a view on this, I think. Well, what do
I
you
think
the
she's
probability of
I
optimistic.
think
recession?
I think
no,
she's
I'm
an
actually fairly pessimistic on this.
Oh.
Actually, I think people are gonna get stressed pretty soon, and like
You
I don't
look
know, everything's
stressed.
heating up just so incredibly quickly.
So what are your odds? What are your
In the next 12 to 18 months, we're going with that long. So Ryan's at 75%. I'm sticking with 2/3, maybe.
okay?
2/3. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good one. Okay, Ryan, what day? What's your day?
July 7th, 2023
July 7th,
So even
2023.
earlier than Chris's.
at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
7 p.m. Eastern time?
Mhm.
Any particular reason why 7 p.m.?
What could happen at 7 p.m. to even trigger this also?
Yeah.
Like,
That's interesting. Huh.
Okay.
Well, you
Just
do
thinking about the
recall-
catalyst. Think about the
you do
catalyst.
recall, guys.
Is there a meeting?
No, I mean you could get an emergency Fed rate cut.
Oh.
That starts everything.
What was I going to say? Oh, before the pandemic, you will recall I had a recession date, right? And everyone was laughing at me. I said June of 2020, well
Mhm.
before June of 2020, right? Emily knows this.
I
Right.
remember this.
2018, 19, and you guys were mocking me. And I was off by 4 months maybe. Right?
Yeah, we've talked about this. There's a big
just-
asterisk that goes next to it.
What's the asterisk?
A pandemic.
Oh,
You did not
know.
predict a pandemic.
I did not. But if it wasn't the pandemic, who knows? You don't know the counterfactual. It could have been something else.
I do know the counterfactual. There would have been no recession.
I don't know.
I'll never forget. I was in the hospital. Katie had, just given birth to Reagan, and this is when like the cases in Seattle started developing.
Oh
And
yeah.
I turned to the nurse and I was like, "How bad do you think this is going to get in the U.S.?" And she's like, "Why?" I was like, "Because healthcare wise, I'm really concerned, but also Zandy can't be right about a recession. If this really intensifies, we're going to get a recession.
Wow.
Well, you do recall one of the reasons why I was, and of course I was tongue in cheek, obviously, but
Mhm.
the yield curve had inverted, right? And that's a good leading indicator of, and of course the economy was struggling with the trade war with China. President Trump had put tariffs on China, and we were kind of in a pitched battle. And manufacturing was clearly in recession; it was contracting. Agriculture was clearly contracting. So the economy was soft and weak. And so anything that came along, and of course I didn't, obviously predict the pandemic, but I did think the economy was vulnerable to anything else that could come along. But I think in terms of future recession, I do concur that the next 12 to 18 months are pivotal. That, that's going to be tricky to kind of navigate through, for the Fed to raise interest rates fast enough to help quell the inflation and get inflation expectations down, but not raise rates so far so fast that it undermines the economic recovery. And that process, that normalization of policy, is going to happen in the next 12 months, 18 months. And to get that right is hard. So I would say that the probabilities of recession in that 12 to 18 months, and I'm saying 40% over the 18-month period, that is very high and uncomfortably high. And, I wouldn't argue with you if you said we're going to have a recession in that period. It's very possible.
How would you and Chris's odds change if on Monday we come into the office and Europe has put a full oil embargo on Russia? Because it's looking likely.
Recession. That's a recession, right? Because oil prices will jump.
I agree.
That's not our baseline. That's not what I'm assuming. But if that happened, and once oil prices jump here from where we are now and how fragile things are, we're done. We're going in. Yeah. So I'd say, that'd be a catalyst. But I don't expect that. And that's not in the base, kind of the most likely scenario, because it would push us into recession. And I think the Europeans would know that. And I think they would view that, that they certainly don't want it to push the economy into recession, because once you do that, I think you potentially undermine the support from the population for putting pressure on Russia to do the right thing. And you certainly don't want to do that. It's very counterproductive. So I'm guessing they won't do that. But I do think if we get through the next 12, 18 months, I think we will have a period where recession risks are pretty low, because the fundamentals of the economy are pretty good. So we could go on for a while before we get to the next recession. I mean, if
we survive the next 18 months.
Yeah, if we survive the next 18 months. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to answer, I don't know. Emily, I don't know. I don't have a recession date. I'm very careful, as you can tell, about picking recession dates. I only give you a recession date when I'm confident that I can give you the recession date. These guys, I don't know. They're
2/3 probability.
Yeah, they're 2/3 probability. Yeah. Anyway, very good. That was great. The great questioning. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it. I don't know about you guys, but
that was great.
That was great.
Oh, this was fun.
You did a nice job, Emily.
Very good.
Thanks.
Anything else you'd like to say? What do you think? Do you know us any better after this?
Yeah, I know.
Do you like us more or less as a result of all this?
I'm concerned about the hanging out in the airports part of things.
Oh.
But otherwise better. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's up with that? I don't know.
Oh, I never thought of it
Odd life
that
choice.
way. Yeah, I never really thought of it.
I'm with
that
you,
way.
Mark.
I'm hanging
I'd be
out
in the
an
airport right away.
Right. Very good. All righty. Well, I guess I am supposed to call this a podcast. And of course, no podcast ends without @MarkZandy. @MarkZandy. I'm just saying. And Ryan, what's your Twitter?
@realtime_econ.
And Cris he's not active on. Is there some kind of thing like a handle or something in LinkedIn, like some identifier?
Just look up my name.
Just look up his name. Okay, very easy. Very good.
And Emily, do you have a Twitter?
I do, but I'm just a lurker.
Oh, okay.
A lurker.
A lurker.
Do you follow Ryan?
I don't
okay.
think I follow
See,
Ryan.
oh
I
my
follow you,
gosh,
Mark.
What is going on? What is going on?
I will.
I'm new to
after
this. I'm new to this game.
What about
Yeah,
me?
I
Do
didn't
you follow me?
I do actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Oh.
good.
Big announcement.
Good answer. Good
Oh.
answer.
Yeah.
Right.
Very good. Okay, well, we'll call this a podcast. So very, very well done, and really appreciate the opportunity to chat with everyone. So thank you.